All good. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. We'll try and keep this nice and condensed for everybody. Make sure we don't take up too much time. I can see a few people having snacks, so that's good. Hopefully, you'll be able to enjoy those while we go through. So really, I want to, before I dive in today, provide a little bit of context as to what we'll go through, a bit of a framework of what we'll run through, and then if you have any questions, please throw them into the comments. I'll try and get to them. We're recording the session, so anybody can come back to it. And then we'll be able to, answer any questions as we go along. So in a nutshell, really, what's happening is from the 1st of May, there is a new suite of things that are happening for the LJ Hooker network with the partnership with RealHub that's going from strength to strength. And really, it's all about, what is the feedback that we've had on the system over the last 2.5 years, and how can we, take it to the next step with the value that we can provide for LJ Hooker. So a lot of the things that I'll talk about today is all around feedback that we've had with individual offices. And I want to give you like a high level look into, the system, but really today isn't for training purposes. We'll have training webinars at a later stage. Also everywhere through the system, we have training. So please don't stress today if, I zip around a little bit, because I want to keep it as high level as possible. After me talking, I'll also give it through to Matt Ferrugia, who will probably be on the call today, and he'll just talk a little bit about how he got early access and he worked with us to work on some of these tools and how it's worked for his business in the LJ Hooker Terrible office. So what's happening from the 1st of May is there's currently multiple offerings for the LJ Hooker network through the RealHub system. And what will be happening is the free model, so the model that there's no cost, that will be getting removed. And what we'll be doing instead is having a low cost subscription, which is going to add a whole lot more value. What we've found is, a lot of people were asking for, new tools, things that they're seeing out there, and, how can we step up? And so what we've decided to is instead, using the buying power of the LJ Hooker network, is come up with a really low cost subscription offering, which is $137.50, including GST, and add a lot more juice to the system, if you will. And I guess a lot of the focus for us was all around making it more efficient for businesses, but also really focusing around agents. How can we have agents in both sales and property management be able to, close more deals and have more tools that helps them, do their job and helps them pitch in the living room and things like that. So that'll be a big focus on today is talking about what we've done to really focus on agents and the property management team. So before I share my screen, I'll talk about the new digital touch points which we've included in the system. So just on that question there, Grace, $137 per month per office, and that includes GST. And to give you a bit of a sense of, LJ Hooker compared to everybody else, the off-the-shelf just for the proposal tool, which I'll talk about, is $249 per month. And if you add the property management add-on, which is already included for LJ Hooker, that's another $149. So it's about 1/3 the price because you guys are part of the LJ Hooker network. So what we've done is we've added a number of different touch points to the proposal offering. So when you, an agent or a property management team member, are looking to pitch for business, what we've done is created a digital suite of templates that will help you create a new strategy for when you're doing it. So let's start with the sales team and then we'll work to the property management. So for the sales, what we've done is we've realized there's 3 key touch points when we've started talking to the agents. Number 1 is a pre-list. So really quickly from the system being able to send out a pre-list, which frames up, why LJ Hooker, why you as an agent, some of your social proof, pulling through different, bits and pieces from your business to try and, in a nutshell, really quickly deliver a pre-list prior to the listing presentation. Next touch point is the proposal. Now, the proposal is something you've had in RealHub for a while, but what we've found is, that's 2 years old now. So a lot of the new features, bells and whistles, and the look and feeling wasn't there. So what we've done is taken that to another level in terms of, looking really slick and being designed to, the standard that everybody wants. So the proposal has been rebuilt from the ground up. And really the proposal for everybody who hasn't tried it is it's a very customized approach to when you're in that living room and you're talking through the points for your vendors around, what does the process look like? What's the marketing process? What's the commission? What's the comparables? And so part of this new offering is we now integrate with both Price Finder and CoreLogic. So you get that benefit of getting the data from those data suppliers. And then the next touch point is if you are unsuccessful. So if you don't get that listing, and things might be looking a little bit stale. So perhaps 6 months later, you want to reach out to your person and you want to give them an update, where things are at in the current market conditions. And so we've built a template for that, and that's called a price update. And so quite simply, it's pulling through suburb data from the data suppliers. It's pulling through, your recent sales, and then you can put forward a price. So in a market like we're in today, that becomes a really powerful tool of going, hey, this is where your property has increased, maybe, looking at trends, how many properties have sold in the last 6 months, and this is where we believe your home is as of today. And so that's a really key new tool for the sales team, and probably one that Matt Ferrugia will touch on because that's where he's found great success in his business. So that's the sales side, and today I'll give you a little bit of insight into those, but I won't go too far into the detail. But everybody, what you're going to notice is you'll start to get SMSs with examples of the presentation. So you can start to see what they're going to look like for you. A question just came in, does the subscription include the CRM integration? Yes, it does. So that was another piece of feedback. Everybody wanted, the benefit of having a CRM integration. So we've now added that to the subscription offering. So next we'll talk about property management. And this is a really key thing, is what we found over the last 2 years with the offices is, we had all of these great tools for sales team members, but then a lot of people felt there's a big missing gap for property management. What are we doing on their side? So included in that subscription, the property management will get their own suite of tools. And the two ones we've done for property management is a pre-list and a proposal. And our focus for the property management is always, the reality is often investors, you're not going to sit in the lounge room with them. There might be multiple investors. They might be in different states or different areas. So for property management, it's all about speed in which you can deliver the content. And secondly, about making it easy and live. So as changes need to be made, it's live to the investors for the presentation. So what we did is a pre-list and a proposal for property management in the same kind of style, but we really thought about it from the property management way, not like a for sale or a residential property one that's just been like an afterthought to that, if that makes sense. Awesome. So in a nutshell, those are really the big new tools that you're going to be able to have access to based on this new offering. Apart from that, we've also done some rethinking of the system, how to take things another layer further. And part of that, what we've done is we've realized we need to make it a mobile first approach. So when I share my screen with you guys, we'll realize everything that I'm doing today for you can be done from your mobile. And that's really important, whether you're a property management team member, an agent, an admin, a sales agent, whoever it is, you need to be able to do this from your mobile. So all of the tools, you're not required to download an app. You're just required to log in via your mobile, and you can build everything that I'm showing you today. So hopefully that gives you a good piece of context as to what we'll go through. As I mentioned before, any questions, just throw them out at me and I'll share my screen with you now. So if you're looking at my screen now, what you're going to notice on the left-hand side, we have the, let's just make sure I move this. We have the phone. And so this is just a phone simulator to show you everything I'm doing here is now be able to do from your phone. So all of your properties can feed through from your CRM. You can, from the phone, you can create, and then it's what do you want to do? So the system's really broken into those three core elements. It's broken into, winning new business. So that's pre-lists and proposals. It's broken into property marketing. So that's all about, how do we market your property? How do we create efficiencies into your business? And finally, agency marketing. How do we help LJ Hooker deliver value to the brand by making sure that you guys get things like email signatures, social media tiles, flags, everything you can imagine that's not related to a property? How can we help them do that on scale easily, and that's in the agency marketing dashboard. Now, what I won't worry about doing is building everything in the mobile for you today, just because the screen's so small, so it'd be probably hard to see. But just understanding, I definitely encourage you after this, have a play around in your mobile, because it's certainly a key aspect. I've got a question here, so I'll just quickly have a look at it. Morning, everyone. No, that wasn't the question. How do we log in the phone? Yep, so such a good question there. So quite simply, your login details, if you jump onto realhub.com.au, the login button, those will send you straight through. So it's the same login, no change there. Perfect. So what you're looking at here is the RealHub dashboard. The idea is we encourage you to make sure with the new integration, get your CRM integrated, and your properties will flow through into the system. Now from here, as I mentioned, this won't be a training session, but what I want you to do is show you how we can create those digital touch points in the system, which we call proposals. So quite simply, on the top right-hand side, we have a green button that we say create. As mentioned, we want to win new business, so we click on that button. We can then search our property. So if we push through our property from the CRM, it will sit there. If we haven't, we can create it from scratch, which is what I'll do today because I don't have an integration. We then go choose our team member and we can create a presentation. Now, when you do this, what you're going to notice is you have your different templates. And the templates are defined by what I call digital touch points. And that's really, what I hope to get out of, this today for you guys is to see, you may not be doing in your business at the moment pre-lists. You might only be doing proposals, and you may not have a touch point for a price update. What I would love more than anything is helping you push your business further. So that is, if you're not doing the multiple touch points, I heard something from, Tom Panos the other day in our session where he talks about, the 2021 listing presentation. And Tom Hector from Adelaide's really big on this, is like the number of touch points you can do prior to getting inside the living room will really help, put you front of mind. So if you think about you competing with another agent or another property manager, they've sent one email and you've done 4 different touch points that look beautiful, that are live and interactive for them. It takes you to a whole nother level, which is really what we're trying to achieve. So here I click on the LJHooker pre-list. From there, you'll notice it has different sections, and those different sections relate to the presentation. Now, I won't bore you with the details, but quite simply, if you want to make a change to a section, so let's say, for example, I want to change the pricing, what's the price of the home I'm estimating, I can add it in and I can hit save. Now, what you will find is not every section is going to relate to you. And that's why we've made it very customizable to ensure that it can be shaped to how you like it. So what you'll notice here is we'll say preview and edit. And it's now going to pull all the details onto the new looking presentation. Now, I just have a question here I want to make sure I answer. Awesome. Okay, so I just have a question there about training. So what we'll be doing for training is we'll provide some training group webinars for the subscription for anybody who decides to go up that another layer, which is the pro, and you get the account management, things like that. You can book in one-on-one training. So, so Paul, that question, we can certainly get a one-on-one training if you're on the pro, which is that next step up. Apart from that, if you're on the subscription, there's a whole training academy as well as group training sessions, and we'll really be guided by everybody if how many we need to do based on everybody feeling like they're getting out what they require. So what you notice is as I've clicked preview and edit, all the details have flowed through onto the presentation. And before I scroll through, I really want to stress this one point. These proposals, pre-lists and price updates, we have built them to be customized. The LJHooker network is 400 plus offices, and the reality is the way someone pitches for a deal in Double Bay is different to the way someone pitches for a deal in Queensland. So what we need to do is we create a framework which gives the feeling of the LJHooker brand, but then you can make changes. So whether the changes be, content, look and feel, images, whether it be changing the text, whether it be removing certain sections, or whether it be removing sections up and down. And so what this allows you to do is within the system, create something that's your own, so that it relates to your marketplace. So that's really key to understand. So as I scroll through, so you notice things like videos and text, you're noticing that if there's a blue dotted line, it means you can change. So if you feel that this language doesn't quite represent your area, you can certainly change it. What we've tried to do is make it that if you get your login today or tomorrow and you upgrade to the subscription, is you can access it from day one. There's not a great deal of work, but obviously if you want to customize it to what you want, then there's a little bit of time spent to make sure it's exactly how you like it. So as I scroll through, you notice these up and down arrows, which allows me to move sections up and down, as well as enable and disable. So I can turn sections off completely. So if you feel, you don't want to talk about what does a sales agent do, you can turn off that section by clicking on the toggle. So really it's up to you what you want to show. And then noticing as I scroll through things like images, you might think, okay, that doesn't really relate to my market. Totally fine. You can go and change that. Now we've got a few questions regarding pricing. So we'll send out a pricing sheet to make sure everybody can see the comparisons around the different tiers. Now, can the text be edited? Absolutely. So as I scroll through, let's say consistent communication, you just want to say, how we communicate, we can just change that. And then that's completely changeable, hit the green tick, and now that's updated. So you can make those changes as you see fit. So can you please let us know here regarding the pricing? Sorry, let me just make sure I can see the question. Okay, so the question I had from Scott, sorry, I can't, what's the difference? Okay, the difference between, look, there's a lot of check boxes around the differences between subscription and pro, but in a nutshell, the main areas that you're going to notice are difference is around the account management. So subscription, it's a low touch, low cost model. So our goal is to make this system very self-sufficient. So everything you need is sitting inside there. So therefore you won't need to, make phone calls and things like that very often. So the SLA times on things like phones and emails are slower. If you're an office that, let's say you do 100, 200 transactions a year, and really when it's 2:59 on a Thursday and you need to really call someone and get something done and you need an account manager, that's the pro, and that will then give you access to those kind of things. Then there's a number of different ticks, yes and no on the sheet. Just so that I don't read them incorrectly, definitely encourage you to have a look at that after this. So the question there is the subscription basically the same as what we have at the moment? No, it's not, because now we've added all these new digital tools. So what we wanted to do is change the free model, have it for subscription, but then add a number of tools that weren't previously available. Now, these new tools will be available on both subscription and pro. So you're not going to miss out on anything if you're not on one or the other. Awesome. So I'll keep scrolling through. I had another question there, and that was, can you print it? Absolutely. So what you'll notice is each one of these digital touch points can also be printed. So when you click on the PDF button, it's going to re-optimize the entire page, which is going to mean that it's now ready to go in a printed version. So just making sure that if you want to print and hand this out, it's going to be in a beautiful document. Now, when you do this, you're going to notice it takes about a minute or so to download, because we're actually re-optimizing everything to make sure that it looks beautiful in print as well. Now, a question there, can we upload campaign documents? Yes, you can upload campaign documents. So here, all of those things there. And what I'll do is encourage everybody to have a look after this, just so I don't take up too much time of each individual sections. Now, I'll go back here. And what we'll do is we'll scroll down and we'll just talk about the insights a little bit. I guess the reason why, you may be doing something like this in your business at the moment, but through PowerPoint or through, through Word or Publish or whatever it is, what I find is the biggest things that we're missing is the tracking of data. And that's why I usually encourage print if necessary, or print when you're walking and you're sitting in the living room and you can hand something over and someone can flip around on it. But don't always leave the printed behind, because you're going to miss out on the insights. So when you send a link out, what we can do is we can track insights for you. So the total number of views we can track, the total amount of time spent on the presentation we can track, and the amount we've read through the presentation we can track. And then the thing that gets most agents excited is we can send you an SMS each and every time someone opens it. So then you have that instant feedback that someone is now looking at your presentation. So that's really key to understand, is all around those tracking and why you want to move into a digital space into the business. So lastly here with the sharing, We go here and we can share the link. We can SMS it directly to yourself, and then you can forward it on. And part of this for us is always, it's not just about having a tool in your business, but it's helping educate people, because, the reality is, we have a lot of, great agents that we work with, great agents in the LJ Hooker network, and we continually fact find to find what is working in their business. And one of the key ones that I've been talking about with a lot of agents is around SMS, and how people are slowly starting to move away from emailing, because the reality is email isn't instant. So something that Tom Panos said the other day, which I loved, which was, is speed is the new currency. So if you want to make sure that this presentation, pre-list, proposal, price update gets directly to the client, I encourage you to SMS it, because that you're going to usually get them to open it within a minute or so, and you're instantly going to get that feedback that they're reviewing it right then and there, rather than later, when they're home at night time. So these kind of tools we want to build into the system to help you. So the next touch point here after we've done our pre-list is our proposal. So again, similar process. What you notice here, I've clicked on tools, and now the pre-list is sitting there. We can now then go and create the proposal, and we scroll down, and then here we have a template for our new proposal, which has all the information around our new one. So I don't want to bore you with the same details over and over again. I'll quickly just click preview and edit so you can kind of get a sense. I had a question before, which is, can it be a flip book? The digital website is a replacement of a flip book. A flip book is kind of a harder way to review text. The reality is most websites you go onto, Apple or whatever the website is, it's all scrolling down and engaging with animation and things like that. That's what you want to do, rather than a flip book where you have to turn it landscape on your phone and you're flipping left to right and you've got to zoom in awkwardly. Everything here has been optimized for the phone. So here what I'll do, just to really talk to that point, is I'm going to grab a share link and I'm going to open it up on my mobile here, so you can see what it looks like on the phone, the experience that most people are going to get. Because the reality is, most of the time when you send this out, especially if you're sending it in format of a link. Sorry, let me just, my little phone's not letting me copy and paste to it. Oh. Damn, my phone's not, sorry guys, my phone's not working here on my little simulator. But yeah, so definitely after this, encourage you to have a look at the phone, and you'll see what it looks like on mobile, because it's really, really key to making sure it all looks nice. So what I'll do now, last one that I want to show you in this, is just talk to the property management side of things. It works in the very similar way. So when we hit create proposal, you'll then see a rental proposal as well as a rental pre-list. So everything for these property management teams are really focused around them. So you're noticing when I choose the rentals pre-list, there's very small amount of things that you want to have to change. So the key remembering for property management is making sure that it can be edited really quickly. And when you're doing something like a pre-list, there's not much change that is required. So again, definitely encourage you, when you get these SMSs and you have a look at these, take a look at them and see how these are going to work in your business, and remembering it's all completely customized. Perfect. Okay, so that's everything I'll touch on with the proposals. What I'll do is I'm probably going to throw it away to Matt Ferrugia now to give a bit of an insight into how he's been working with these in his business, and then we'll take it from there. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing my screen. Matt, if you're around, I will, let me just try and see if I can find you. Here you are. Matt, if you just click unmute.
Already done.
Already done. Love it.
Already done. How are you, bud?
Good. Very good. Thank you for joining today. So you'd missed the beginning. I saw you were late, so we won't pull you up in front of everybody on that. But really, I wanted to bring you in today because I worked closely with you on these different documents, and looking at what you've done in your business in terms of volumes and transactions, and looking at Terrigal as like a great office. I wanted to bring you on to talk about how you've implemented this and kind of what success you've seen, and what are maybe the insights you can give people around what are the good, the do's and don'ts for the tool in their business.
For sure. So I guess like to break down a couple of things that we've experienced, like working with someone like our principal, anyone who knows our office here in Terrigal, Tim's owned it for 20, 30 years before I was born. So unfortunately, at times you will find with principals that have been doing it a long time, they are quite comfortable and set in their ways with using maybe more an analog approach to real estate in terms of everything's print marketing, print media. So, to get him around to more of a digital aspect has taken some doing. The big thing for us as well is, I guess it feels like such a big change when you have to adapt all this new technology to real estate, because there's always some new piece of technology that kind of just maybe adds another element of process that you feel like at times you just can't handle or don't need. So, for us initially, like everyone else who's probably listening, there probably was a bit of hesitation. Getting into it though, it's honestly been one of the best things we've done. It's really streamlined the process from start to finish. And I guess there's a couple of things to that. So, obviously people are really quick to forget about what your printing costs are. People are so worried about the costs of this software, not saying that it's dear, but I'm saying any software in general. But when you really break down the cost of something like this, like call it that it's $200 a month for the top software. And Frank will kill me if I've thrown out a number that's probably not accurate.
137, but
there you go. See, I should have tuned in at the start. So, call it $200 a month. What are you spending on printing your pre-listing kits and your marketing proposals that you take out, whether you print those in office, because that ink's not free, that printer's not free, your time to bind those books isn't free, then someone's got to go and deliver those books. That takes time and effort. If you've got the traffic that we've got here, which I'm sure most of you do, that's a 20-minute round trip. It's just such a waste of time. So, we kind of thought of all of those things and went, well, it's just a no-brainer. Then you start thinking about, okay, well, every time we update those marketing books or the old school style, we've got to pay a graphic designer to do that because it's all done on InDesign. And, as you touched on before, scrolling is just the way of the world. I don't know, if anyone kind of realizes it, but we're addicted to scrolling. Go and have a look at what you do when you get on your Instagram or your Facebook. I guarantee you all do it. You'll sit there and aimlessly scroll for ages and then realize, shit, I've been in here for about 10 minutes now. I should probably get back and do something else. Isn't that what you want your vendors to do? If they're getting a flip book from someone and going, oh, yep, this is the same thing that's on my lounge room table, they're hardly going to pay attention to that as opposed to getting something text message to them. It's interactive. It's there. If they go out to coffee and they want to look at it, they have to take things with them. They've got it with them permanently. The big thing for me is I like to know when things are happening. So, when you deliver a pre-list, you're kind of that stalker who either sits out the front and waits for them to get home and collect the candle, the card and the pre-listing kit, or you're the person who texts them the next day and says, oh, hey, I left something at your door. I just thought I'd let you know because I thought it might rain and didn't want it to get damaged. You're finding a reason. You're just clutching. So I found it really professional to be able to kind of still have that separation, but know when things are happening, know when they're thinking of you, know when they're reviewing things. And then, it certainly helps to understand timing in your business a little more. So if you notice that a lot of your vendors are opening it all around the same time, well, then that probably teaches you more around their behaviors and activities. Okay, well, most of my vendors are available after about 6 o'clock. So how about I stop prospecting at 4 p.m. when they're on their way home, expecting to get somewhere, and maybe start doing sort of 5:30 till 7. So it's kind of answered a lot of questions for us. Obviously as well, we've been able to put it into practice with some of the new templates because it was there and available before. Because I know a few people have touched on, is this the same RealHub template? The templates that obviously I've had access to over the last couple of months just to try and have it as a bit of a trial, heaps more interactive. If I'm really honest, the only hard part for me was I struggled to focus and have attention on things for too long a period of time, as Frank will tell you. So that's why me being on the phone and having it in front of me means I can't scroll or do anything along those lines. So it got my attention. But the big thing that I found was just the setup. When you're going through and creating it all, because as Frank said, he's got to appeal to 500, 600 offices. So, they're going to do it different from, Mudgee to Maroomba. So you've really got to make sure that it's, it's a really strong, I guess, base to work with that you can customize for each person. So, we've spent a bit of time on that, just customizing it to get it right. But if you get it right once, the rest is easy. An example would be we left an appointment yesterday that we went out, pitched for the business. She's having, like other agents, out after Easter. We'd sent her the pre-listing kit. We could see she'd open it and interacted with it. We then went out, did the appointment. She was adamant, look, I'm not signing anything today. I'm getting other agents out. Easter's, this weekend. So then we've got to wait another week before we hear back. And so we jumped in the car. Jess had sent the follow-up proposal in the car on the way back to the office, about a 10-minute drive, got everything back to them. By the time we'd sent it and pulled up to the office, I had a phone call from that same vendor saying that they'd read the proposal, our pitch was good, and you know what, they're not going to wait, come back and sign it up. So we signed it up this morning at 8:30, so that's why I was late. But it's just been a really, really good tool.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Thank you. Appreciate that, Matt. And I think that's a big part of what we want to do over the next few weeks is also around the education around what we can do within people's businesses, and using people like yourself, Matt, and other people, key people in the LJ Hooker network. How are they using it? How are they seeing success? And then what are the tips and tricks that we can add in there? So like as an example, Matt's already coming next week. He's going to sit down. He's already got a list of things he'd love to see in the next version, and that's kind of, I guess, the benefit of this continued partnership is working with people to continually improve is a real key there. So thank you, Matt.
Yeah, easy. And one other thing too, before I forget, that was what I meant to talk about, is just if you've got, this probably really benefits all agents, but it's really beneficial for maybe a junior agent who kind of needs some help around the process of nurturing clients. So little things like that price update email. For a lot of junior agents, I know when I first started, most of the appraisals I was doing, they were cold calls that you were getting indoors. They had no intention of selling. So you wanted a reason to be able to stay in touch with someone who 4 or 5 years off selling. That price update tool is really, really cool to be able to every 3 months or 6 months have a reason to touch base in a really non-intrusive way, and then start to build on something from there and have a bit of a pipeline.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that, mate.
Easy. No worries, mate.
Talk to you very soon. I will I'll just jump into a few questions that we've had. So just to make sure I'm answering everybody's question. So is there a New Zealand version of the pre-list? So we're working to do all of these in New Zealand versions for a New Zealand rollout as well. So yes. I had a question there around, will there be customization on the standard templates? So for this first launch right now, the standard templates were not really our key focus. Really, we're guided there by the corporate team. So if there's new templates that are required, like socials and things like that, definitely feedback if you provide to the corporate team, and then we can receive those and then load them onto the system. Absolutely no problems. If we have a super group, so the way it works is if you have one login to the system, then if you have only one account, which is just one office, then there's just one subscription. If you do have 2 or 3 offices and they're linked together, it's a subscription per office per month. Because what you usually find is as those offices increase, the number of users and the number of touch points increase. That's why there has to be a subscription based on the individual office. We wanted it not restricted by number of agents to make it complex and things like that. So we just want to make it really low cost individual subscription there. So that hopefully that answers your question. I'll keep scrolling through. Okay, so the question there, if we don't upgrade, do we still have access? So the way it'll be working is there will no longer be, from the 1st of May, there's no longer a free option to the system. So it's really, you've got the different pricing points. You've got the low cost, $137 per month. You've got the pro if required. But really there's not going to be a free version. So if you don't want to pay the 137, you don't see the value in all the new upgrades, then unfortunately it won't be access into the system because there's no longer a free version. I'll keep reviewing. Will there be a copy of the recording? Absolutely. So we have this recorded. What I'm also doing, part of the rollout, is each individual item. So such as property management, pre-list and proposal, I'll do a video specifically for those. So really then you can focus on your core area that's important to you. So I'll be doing all the different, key features that are happening, and you'll be getting those in email format as well. Just do like an online place that you can check out them all. And I'll be a bit more granular in those. Obviously we've got all different types of people on today's call, so I want to make sure it's high level as possible, not to I guess take people's time. The next question: can we upgrade straight away? Absolutely. So everything I've shown you today is available today. So if you wanted to, straight after here, you can click on the link, which allows you to upgrade, and you can have access to all of these tools straight away. I definitely encourage, I guess, the earlier you access, what it means is you'll beat the curve, and you'll get, I guess, more time from the team to be able to help you and make sure everything's set up and perfect for you. So absolutely, there's a link there that's getting added. I'll just keep reviewing. So can we, okay, that's not a question. Okay, cool. I think we've done all the questions. There was a question about the printing proposal and text getting cut off. So the way it works is the digital proposal will have a limit of a page, but if you have more text, it'll now overlap onto the second page. So yes, we've overcome that challenge from previously. And then, okay, cool. Yep, perfect. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? The last one I saw there, which I totally forgot to respond to, was commercial. So this we'll be doing a whole lot of stuff for the commercial team as well. Just so I'm clear and transparent, we don't have a template for commercial built today. We have the residential one that would need to be tweaked, but what we're going to be doing is building one specifically for commercial, because of course commercial is very different to residential. So we want to make sure we address that market, address that area as well. Now, before I leave everybody today, and thank you so much for your time, I guess in a nutshell, just wrapping up what the subscription, what the add-ons are all about. It's all about these new digital tools to help property management and help agents be able to pitch for new business. That was a core focus on this rollout. It's also about making a mobile first approach. So the system is all about mobile first, being able to access it from everywhere. And also it's going to be about making sure that you have those key questions that we had that people felt the free offering was missing, making sure those are available to people, like the CRM integration. So the question there is, can we get the first 3 months free if we subscribe for 12 months? That's a good question. I actually don't have it off the top of my head, so I just don't want to make sure I get the wrong answer there. Apologies. Another one is, do we use AgentBox to CRM? Will it still integrate? Absolutely. There's a two-way integration with AgentBox, so you can push a property to AgentBox, and then you can have your suppliers load photos, and then they can go back to AgentBox if you like, or it can just be a single one-way, so no problem at all. Can we add testimonials? The campaigns was not done in RealHub. So in the testimonial section or case study section, you can do that now. So that's one of those challenges we've solved. And that's it. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. As mentioned, a lot of this information is going to be coming out in individual videos that'll talk specifically to certain areas and certain touch points. If you have any questions, please reach out. Hopefully you've seen what exciting things we're bringing out for the LJ Hooker Network, and we're really keen to start getting everybody on board to these new add-ons. So thank you so much, everybody.